how much different is the level of play?
You know, I'm excited about Big Sky Conference play starting. We've had a countdown clock in our locker room here for 2 or 3 weeks now, with counting down to the start of conference play, because it's that important to our program. We know every team in the Big Sky is going to be tough. That every team has gotten better every year that I've been here. Programs are developing. The competition is fantastic, and it's a surprise every week to see what the scores of those games are. So we know our work's cut out for us.
Have you seen Northern Colorado much? Do you know how good they are compared to years past?
Well, I think they're improved. We have 3 games on them. They played tough against Utah at various times in that game, and then they had a very good plan, a very good game against Sac State, and just fell a bit short. They had more yards. They had time of possession. You know, they had a great plan for Sacramento, and they fell short on the road. So they're playing well, and I think Coach has done a nice job of getting the program improving every single year.
Is this the definition of a trap game, Coach?
Sure, I think it very much could be, you know, but I think in other years, let me put it this way, I think it could be in other years, but I don't think it will be this year. I think our guys realized some mistakes we made maybe in our preparation for the Drake game, and that's fresh in our minds from our preparation that week, and I think our preparation will be a lot better this week than it would be in previous years.
What sorts of things do you say to your team, and what sorts of things do you implement throughout the week to maintain their focus?
You know, I don't think I'm going to have to say that much, to be quite honest with you. There are a couple factors. One is the fact that it's the first conference game, and that's big. That's huge. We've been thinking about it for a long time. We've had it marked on our calendars for a long time, and so I don't think that's going to be an issue. And the second one is that I think we have a mature team. We have guys that have been around, guys that understand how hard you have to work, and we learned a good lesson that, you know, when we went out to play Drake, and you know, we had a higher perception of ourselves compared to them than we should have, and they made us pay for that in a lot of respects. So I think we learned a hard lesson. We'll be fine.
Rob, what does the Darius' scrambling ability do for your offense?
I think it's been huge this year so far. I mean, there have been times when the protection's broken down on 3rd downs, and he's manufactured a 1st down, not just a couple times, multiple times during the course of the season, and he's scrambled and run for touchdowns in the red zone, where we've had a very high touchdown percentage so far this year. So especially in crucial situations, 3rd downs and red zone plays, I think the scrambling's been really important.
Well, in Northern Colorado, I know in every offensive attack now, it's so important to identify that Mike linebacker, and Northern Colorado has one of the best. I mean, how important is it for you guys to identify where Bumpus is at all times this week?
He's an outstanding player, and I met him this summer at the Big Sky Conference meetings. He was Northern Colorado's representative there, and he's a first-class young man, really energetic, high-profile, very fun-loving, talented, good player. So we're very respectful of him. We know he's one of the top players in the conference, and yes, we'll know where he is. We'll try to get a hat on him, and it'll be a good battle for us all game long.
You talked a little bit about your guys' attack. Last game you had the stud defensive end. It looked like you're bringing in an extra offensive lineman at times. I know that you were chipping him a little bit with Cody and Trey. What was kind of thinking behind that?
Well, he's an outstanding player. We were concerned about some of the matchups with our blocking schemes, and so we did some different things. You know, we did double him. We doubled both ends, consistently on pass protection, and we got the extra lineman in there to get a little bit more beef in front of the ball carriers and to give us better matchups there. So I thought Coach McGiven and Coach McIndoe and Coach Link, they kind of worked together on this run plan last week. I thought it was really good because it gave us a chance to have some successful matchups.
Well, I know giving up 35 points doesn't sound like a good defensive effort, but we actually focused on the defense a lot. It looked to me like they were actually hitting harder this year than I've seen in the past years. Would you agree?
I think we've got a very physical defense. You know, we're not the biggest when you look at the height and weight numbers, but we are very tough and very physical, and that's something that we pride ourselves on. And we wanted to we knew we couldn't stop all the completions of the passes last week by Stephen F. Austin, but we wanted to come up and make our presence known on the guys who did catch the ball, and just try to take a toll as we went through the game. I didn't realize how physical Stephen F. Austin was going to be in return. So they really impressed me with how physical they were. So when you have 2 teams like that playing each other, there were some sore guys on Sunday, but it was an important part of our defensive play.
How impressed are you with your defense so far?
I thought our defense had played well in this game and has played well all season. We've had a couple big mistakes in each game, which we need to eliminate, but our red zone defense has been exceptional, and our 3rd down defense has been extremely good all year. You know, the 3 stops that we made in this past game where we held Stephen F. Austin to field goals instead of touchdowns probably ended up being the margin of victory.
How much easier is it to prepare as a defensive unit when you play a little bit more of a conventional style offense as compared to an offense that throws the ball 60 times a game?
You know, every preparation has its own challenges. This one is going to be difficult because they are diversified. You know, they run and throw both. They are not predictable in terms of when they do that. They might run it on 3rd and long. They'll throw it on any down. They have good play action concepts. And they take shots down the field. They're pretty aggressive. So I think it has its own challenges that will be difficult.
What have you seen out of their offense? I know they got the Levada kid back and they got Jace Davis back after missing all last year. What have you seen out of them?
I remember Jace Davis from 2 years ago here at our place. He had a great game against us, very effective. We had difficulty stopping him all day long. And Levada had a great game against us last year down at Northern Colorado when we played down there. So both of them are top quality players in this conference, and I'm sure they'll get their plays.
Are they better than they've been in years past?
Yes. Yeah, Ernest Collins has done a really good job. They're getting better. I can tell they're stronger. Their weight program is making a difference. They're starting to get some good recruits into the program that are improving their talent level. They have a few transfers that have bolstered them in some places where they were down. And yeah, I see them getting better consistently.
You guys broke through, got your first 2 takeaways defensively. Is that something that you hope to kind of something that's contagious that kind of keeps it rolling?
What do you think? No, good point though. We need to keep improving in that area. We had a couple of opportunities in this game. You know, Steve Bethley actually had another interception earlier that was negated by a penalty, and we've got to get that happening. You know, we've got to take the ball away, and we've got to be on the plus side. I think this is the first game of the year that we were actually on the plus side on turnovers, but we still had one that we gave away. So it's still a focal point. We talk about it every week, and we'll continue to talk about it.
What do you think of John Weidenauer's progress? I thought he really came of age going against an All-American caliber player.
I think John is doing a super job, and he's playing right next to another freshman in Matt Devereaux, and those two are really, working well together. It's very exciting to me to think about the fact that those two could play together side by side for 4 years here, and I think they're both making great progress.
Coach, what were your expectations in the non-conference slate coming into the season, and do you think you as a team met those?
Well, you can't do any better than what we did, and the bottom line is the record. You know, I mean, as far as our learning curve, I think we're making progress. I liked the fact that we played a faster, bigger, more physical team this past week going into conference play, because I think that's what we needed to step up our game, and I think that game is going to end up being a really good prelude for conference play.
Homecoming week, does that provide any sort of extra incentive, distraction?
That's a half-hour later kickoff time. That's a distraction. No, homecoming is not, to me, has not ever been a major factor. Sometimes I worry a little bit about former players coming back and hanging out with our guys on Friday night before the game. But again, we've got a very mature football team, and I think we have good, former players who understand that the priority for our guys that are playing now is to focus on the game. So, hopefully all the fraternizing will happen after the game, and hopefully we'll stay focused, and I think we will.
Brad, injury update on Brad and Zach?
Yeah, Brad and Zach and Lorenzo Davis are all still in the same boat. They're making progress, but probably still doubtful for this game.
How about Cruz?
Cruz is going to practice this week, and we'll see how it goes. Hopefully, give him be able to play, give him a chance to play. And then the other positive news is that Brian Bignell is cleared to practice, so he'll be back this week on probably a limited basis. He has to go through the acclimatization this week, but he'll be back and be dressed and ready to play. And then I think you probably noticed that Heath Hunter got in the game a little bit, and so he'll be back practicing more. And so we've kind of got 2 new faces in the defensive line with Heath and Brian that'll help us while Brad and Zach are still out.
How about Alex Singleton? What's his status?
He's still going to be doubtful, same category as the other first 3.